Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Today we are going to talk about directed writing task. Today's video is especially for the beginners. When they are going to start directed writing task, basically there are a few terms that they should be very clear about. So first of all, directed writing task is all about following the directions. Always follow the direction given in the question. Whatever your knowledge is, whatever you had been doing in your class, whatever your teacher had been telling you, basically you are going to follow the direction given in the question. That is the first rule regarding directed writing task. Remember this. In directed writing task, we have 5 tasks: article writing, speech writing, letter writing, report writing, and email writing. These are 5 tasks basically. The next thing that, or the terms that I was talking about, that it is, this video is for beginners, and before starting any kind of directed writing task, whether you are going to write an article, whether it's a speech, a letter, report, or email, you must know that the nature of all these directed writing tasks is argumentative, discursive, and persuasive. Now, what is argumentative? Argumentative means that you have to present your argument, that whether whatever you are saying, this is correct, and the other person, whatever he is saying, that is incorrect. So basically you have to prove that your argument is correct and the other person's argument is incorrect. If this is argumentative, if you are going to make a debate in front of someone, then you have to prove your point. If that is discursive, if you are writing an article that has two different perspectives, that has two different points of view, you are going to prove with logical reasoning that whatever you are writing there, or whatever side you are choosing, that is correct. Next is persuasive. Persuasive means that you are going to convince someone. You are going to persuade someone that they should do what you are telling them to do. So why someone should do that? You'll have to convince them for that. You'll have to tell them that whatever you are telling them, that is the correct approach, and they should go with that. So first term, that you all must know the nature of directed writing task. It is going to be argumentative, discursive, and persuasive. Next thing is, you must be very clear, rather crystal clear, about 4 things. First one is audience. Next one is purpose. Next is tone, and the last one, or the fourth one, is register. So basically you must be clear about 4 things while doing directed writing task: audience, purpose, tone, and register. So who is the audience of directed writing task? Audience means the person you are writing to or writing for. So that is the question, that if you are writing an article, who is the audience? Audience can be young people, audience can be general public, or audience can be your school community, or audience can be any person who is reading that article, who is reading that magazine. It can be anyone. So once you are clear about the audience, you can set the tone of that directed writing task according to that. So let's have a look at that. So audience is the person or people you are writing to or you are writing for. If you are writing a report, an email, or a report, email, or a formal letter, your principal is your audience. If you are writing a magazine article, your maybe sometimes young people is your audience, sometimes general public is your audience. If you are writing an informal letter, your friends, your family is your audience. And if you are writing An email, you can write an email to your teacher, you can write an email to your principal, you can write an email to your colleague, you can write an email to anyone, any person you choose. So here you need to remember a few things. In your question they have mentioned the audience is mentioned, like you have to write something to your principal, you have to write something for young people, you have to write something for your friends. But be clear about one thing, that when you see the audience that it is written there, that is young people, or when you read that you are going to write a letter for your principal, there is no such distinction or differentiation of formal or informal letter. It is the audience that tells you that the letter is formal or the letter is informal, right? They will just give you a question: write a letter to your principal, formal; write a letter to your friend, informal; write a letter to the director, formal; write a letter to your younger brother, informal; write a letter to your boss, formal; write a letter to your sister, to your cousin, especially younger ones, that is informal. So there is no such thing that will tell you that the letter is formal or informal, or there is no mention of this word formal or informal in the question. You will decide it yourself after reading that who is the audience. So this word will tell you that you are going to write a formal email or informal email, you are going to write a formal letter or informal letter, right? So this is the audience that is going to set the tone for something. Now, before talking about the tone, you must be clear about one more thing, that is purpose of writing. Why are you writing? The reason for writing. So reasons can be different. The previous pattern that was followed before 2024, in that usually the purpose of writing was just to inform the audience about something, but now it is changed. Now you are going to persuade someone. So nature is argumentative, persuasive and discursive. So purpose of your task is, like if you are writing a letter to someone, basically you are trying to persuade them, you are trying to convince them that whatever you are saying is correct. Like if somebody is asking you that whether they should join a college after doing O levels, or they should start a job. So when you will write that letter to your cousin, to your friend, any person who has asked this, you are going to convince them that whatever you are saying, that is correct, and they should go with your opinion. If you are writing a letter to the principal and you want your principal to start online classes on Fridays, basically you will convince your principal that whatever argument you are going to present, that is correct, and because your arguments are correct, they are logical, that's why principal should start online classes for you people. So this is a kind of a point that it will set the tone of your, if first thing is audience and then purpose, it will set the third thing, that is our next point, that if you know that you have to persuade someone, then you are going to set your tone according to that. Now third thing is tone. Tone is set according to the audience. If your audience is your principal, the we know that audience means the person we are writing to or for. If your audience is your principal, you are going to adopt a formal tone. You are going to write very respectfully to your principal. If your audience is young people, and if that is an article, you are going to adopt a neutral tone. There's no need to be very informal while writing an article. But if you are writing an informal letter, if you are writing a letter and the audience is your younger brother, the audience is your cousin, you are going to adopt an informal tone. Informal tone basically is a tone that tells us that you are talking to someone, you are talking to your family, you are having a kind of a conversation. So informal tone basically depicts conversation between two people, because informal letters are written to family and friends. That's why they are a kind of a conversation, and you must keep them in your mind that I am writing something to my friend, I am writing something to my younger brother or sister. That's why my tone must be spoken or conversational. So this is the tone. And if your directed writing task is not very clearly done according to the understanding of the tone, audience, or purpose, then that means you are unable to write, or you are unable to come up with a very good essay. Tone can be serious if that is a formal report or letter or an email. Tone can be sarcastic if you are writing to someone, especially in case of an informal letter, you can be sarcastic. Otherwise, the other things, uh, there is a little bit space for being sarcastic in an article, but otherwise, you cannot be sarcastic in a report, a formal letter, or email. Somewhat in speech you can be sarcastic. Then next tone is encouraging. So when you are writing an informal letter, when you are writing an article, when you, especially you are writing to people younger than you, so you can adopt an encouraging tone. When you are making speeches, you can adopt an encouraging tone. Your tone can be humorous also. Humorous means that you are just you are cracking jokes with people, or you are just laughing with them. That you can do in case of an article or in a speech. When you are talking to people, mostly in a speech, when you are talking to them, so you can be humorous also. It can be critical also. Critical is also a kind of a serious or sarcastic tone. So usually you can adopt a critical or sarcastic or humorous or serious tone while you are delivering a speech, or while you are writing somewhat in an article. Next thing, the fourth one is register. But register is a bit tricky. That's why I want to deal it in a separate video. So as far as we are concerned about directed writing tasks, there are four things that you must keep in your mind: audience, purpose, and tone. Audience, purpose, tone, and fourth thing is register. In the next video, inshallah, we are going to discuss what is register, because mostly the students who are beginners, who are going to start directed writing tasks, they are not very clear about the register. So we are going to discuss in the next video. Okay, Allah Hafiz, take care.